do that? Okay. So you are here today to hear about brand mastery, the 3 secrets to building a 6 brand. So grab your pens and paper. This is going to be a great presentation where you can take some notes, a great way to kick off 2024 to make it the year for your brand, so that you can create a more powerful brand and build your business faster. So I always like to start with a quote, and the quote today is, your brand is the single most important investment you can make in your business. And of course, you're going to hear that from me as a brand strategist. But this really means that the time that you invest in your brand, it's not a one-time thing. This is a gift that keeps on giving for your business. When you spend time, effort, energy into building your brand, it becomes that magnet that pulls in customers, that keeps them coming back for more, that keeps you top of mind and keeps them paying you top dollar. This, especially if you build your brand the right way, right? If you're not just selling products and services and instead creating a really powerful and sticky brand. So we're going to talk a lot about this today. So my intention today is to teach you how to build a powerful brand, one that will not only help you stand out, but will also make you more money, right? That's what we want. I'm going to be spilling the tea today on what I think are the 3 pivotal secrets that can really help transform your brand from just a commodity brand to really that next level brand, the brand that gets visibility, the brand that actually has so much impact that it affects your bottom line. And that's what we want. So who am I? I know many of you, but if you're new to me, my name is Mallika Malhotra. I'm the brand CEO. I'm so happy that you're here and part of this community. I am a former ad exec who turned entrepreneur when I became a mother 20 years ago. I've done a lot of different things, from having a handbag business to a children's t-shirt collection, brand photography, and most recently, I do a lot of brand strategy work, mentorship work with female entrepreneurs just like yourselves. I am the founder of the Brand Breakthrough Mastermind, which is my core offer. I wrote a book in 2015 called the Brand Photography Playbook. And if we haven't connected on Instagram, would love to connect with you there. I'm also a wife and mom of 3 boys. My boys now are 21, 19, and 14, which is so hard to believe. Many of you, my New Jersey girls here, knew me when my kids were small, and now all of a sudden they have grown and flown. And
I just hopped on a call. Malika's doing well.
I'm going to mute you, Vanessa. Sorry about that. And I now live here in Maine for the last 3 years. And a common theme that you will find in this presentation is that I'm obsessed with niching down. And if you have worked with me in just a little bit, you already know this is like one of my biggest passions. So you're in the right place today if you are ready to elevate your brand and make an even bigger impact. You want to go beyond just the ordinary, right? The ho-hum, mediocrity, and really create a brand that has power and has impact. You are seeking to stand out in your saturated market. I know a lot of you here, we're all, including myself, we are all in saturated markets, right? It is crowded, it is busy, and we struggle with how do we stand out. If you feel like that, you are in the right place. Maybe you're getting this itch to transition from being that generalist, the Jane of all trades, doing all the things, having a really broad brand, to wanting to become that specialist, right? You want to become the go-to expert, and it feels like it's time, but you might not know how to do it. Maybe you're finally ready to get paid your worth, right? You're tired of being a commodity. You're tired of people asking for discounts. And you just want people to recognize your value. Tracy, I don't know. Can everyone else see the presentation? That makes me nervous. Yes? Okay, yes. Maybe it's just you, Tracy. Maybe hop off and come back on. And lastly, you're in the right place today if you strive to establish your brand as the authority. And what I mean by that is you want to use your intellectual property and you want to be seen as the authority in your industry. Oh, it's cut off for you too, Lauren? Is the presentation cut off for some of you guys, or is it not?
I can see like 75%. Oh, now I can
Good,
see
now
it.
it just got fixed. You
Yeah.
just
Yep, it
fixed it, whatever you did.
Okay, awesome. Sorry about that. Okay. So if any of these resonate with you, just say yes in the chat, because I know I have felt these things before. These are things that I want, but I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page and that I'm here to help you with all of this. Okay, lots of yeses. Awesome. So today, what we're going to talk about the basics of branding, because I want you to start with a foundation. We're going to talk about the challenge of the invisible expert syndrome. We're going to talk about those 3 secrets that I promised to help you build a 6-figure brand. I'm going to give you some strategic, thought-provoking questions to help you start thinking about for your brand so that you can get on the right path. If you've worked with me before, you know this is something that I love to do. I want you to start getting clarity and think more about your brand. There'll be lots of examples of successful brands. They're going to be corporate brands, but they're also going to be entrepreneurial brands, maybe even some of the women in this room. And then there are going to be some action steps. There's going to be a fun giveaway and then an invitation to work together if you are inclined. All right, so let's start. What is branding? Okay, so branding for me, this is the heart and soul of your business. And I don't want you to get confused with thinking your brand is your products and services, maybe your logo, maybe your colors. Those are all very important things, but that is not your brand. Your brand is the impression that it makes in the person's mind. It's your story, right? It is so much bigger than the fonts and colors. It's really that entire experience you give to your customers. And it should be something that you're actively shaping, that is strategic, that is intentional, instead of just something that you're winging or just throwing spaghetti at the wall. Your brand is what makes people come back to you, makes people tell their friends all about you. They're so excited to share, right? And it makes people open up their wallets to pay you. So you want to make sure that you are working very hard and investing in your brand. So let's just talk about some quick examples, right? We have coffee and then we have Starbucks coffee, right? The brand of Starbucks is so strong that all of us will wait online, wait in the car line to get our Starbucks. We will pay 4 times as much as a cup of coffee at the gas station. And we even use this vocabulary that they have: short, tall, grande, venti, trenta, because it's the Starbucks brand. They have built this powerful brand that promises to nurture the human spirit, to build this community, this warmth, this hospitality. Another example, you can get a gift, but you can get that blue box. And that blue box, you know the brand, you know something really exciting and beautiful is going to be in there. All of a sudden, you are much more excited when you get that blue box. The color of Tiffany is part of the brand, right? So branding sparks an emotion. It makes you feel something. It promises you something. And in this case, it's promising us something distinctive, stylish, something really high quality. So branding is a story of your business, right? That makes it stand out from the competitors. It is the connection, the promise, this invitation that you're giving your audience to say, this is what I believe in. This is what I can do for you. I invite you to work with me. Are we aligned? The goal is to earn space and make a lasting impression in the audience's mind. That's the whole part and point of your brand. You want to make sure that it's sticky, that it resonates. You want to make sure that it's clear, right? And it's not confusing. And a lot of that ends up being, tough to do on your own. It's like this big branding puzzle that's hard to solve. Which leads me to a lot of problems that we as business owners have, right? We want to be memorable. We want to be referable and magnetic, but sometimes it doesn't work because there's a problem. And the problem that I see a lot with my community, with my clients, is what I call that invisible expert syndrome. And what I mean is, we all have these skills, right? We have experience, we have knowledge, we have expertise, but for some reason, there is a disconnect and we are not getting the quality clients. We're not getting paid what we're worth, even though we know we can deliver really good results. And a lot of it has to do with your visibility. A lot of it has to do with your messaging, a lack of niche. A lot of it has to do with your, the story that you're sharing. And so we need to overcome this invisible expert syndrome in order to grow these businesses. And this is what I see so much, is that struggle, how to promote ourselves effectively, how to get people to see us as the expert. So if you ever feel like that invisible expert, just say yes in the chat, because I know I have. There's no shame in the game. But what we're trying to do is not be invisible. We want to be seen as the expert. We want to go past that limited visibility, right? Where people, don't even know we exist. And sometimes we are responsible for that limited visibility because maybe there's some imposter syndrome that's going on in our heads. Maybe there's this fear of judgment. We want to go beyond that underestimation of the value, not pricing what we're worth, right? Pricing is such an emotional thing. And if we could take the emotion out of it and really just look at the results that we are providing for our clients and price according to that, it's going to help you stand in that power of what you do for your clients, right? We want to go past the limited recognition, right? Why are other people getting opportunities? Why are other people getting work and we're not? We deserve this, but because we've been invisible, we're not getting it. And then that struggle to differentiate. Again, it is so hard to stand out in all of the noise and all of the competition. And so if you're the invisible expert, it's probably because you haven't figured out what that special sauce is, what you should be leaning into. And all of that leads to not making enough money, right? And what we want to do is we want to make more money, but not only that, we want more recognition. We want more opportunities. And I would even go further. We want clarity. We want confidence. We want leadership. That's what we want with our brands. So that's where I come to what I call, this is a new term I'm bringing out, the six-figure brand. And yes, the six-figure brand, it has financial success, but it is much more than that. It is that brand that is scaling, is reaching new audiences. It's the brand that gets known and being the only and obvious choice. It's the brand that has great value for its clients, and they can attract clients easily instead of having to chase them down. And these are the advantages you get, right? When you're in that six-figure brand world. Financial stability, consistent revenue. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Where you're not worrying about where the money's going to come and if there are these highs and lows. Scalability. I know many of you want to get to new markets. You want to expand. You want to maybe diversify. A six-figure brand, when you have money in your bank, it makes it easier to do that. It gives you brand recognition. Higher revenue often correlates with increased brand visibility and recognition. So you want to make sure that your brand is well defined so that it can perform better and then make more money. You can also get customer trust and loyalty, right? When you're you have consistent success, you're making more money, people have a built-in trust in you. And lastly, you have leadership. When you're a six-figure brand, you are the leader in your industry. So you have that influence and you're setting benchmarks for other people in your market. And you don't have to worry or obsess about what everybody else is doing because now you're in your own lane. And lastly, the most importantly, once you make good money for your brand and it's consistent and you're in this six-figure status, you can be a sustainable brand. And I mean a long-term successful brand. That's what we really want to build, right? We want to be here. It's like a marathon for the long game, not just for the short game. We're here for the long game. So how do we get there, right? We want the six-figure brand, but how do we get there? So I have a whole methodology called the Brand CEO Method that I take my clients through. This is a framework that we go through in my mastermind called the Brand Breakthrough Mastermind over 4 months. We have 3 parts: discovering your brand brilliance, defining your secret sauce, and then how do you deliver that? There are 3 parts, but it takes 4 months to get through it because there are all these pieces to the pie. And it takes time. Branding doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, it takes work, it takes self-discovery. And many of the women here in this group know this. They've been working with me not only 4 months, but they come back for another 4 months because it takes time. But today, we only have about an hour, so I'm going to tell you kind of a little bit of a fast track, the 3 secrets that will get you on that path to a 6-figure brand. Okay, so let's get to the first one. So secret number 1, from service provider to specialist. So most of us are service providers here, and that might be a couple of product people, but most of us are service providers. We solve problems. We cater to an audience. Maybe some of you, it's a wider audience with maybe a wide range of offerings. Maybe you have some general services. They don't have a specific focus. But I want you to change that mindset. I really want you to think that you are so much more than just a service provider. I want you to get into the mindset of being a specialist, of focusing on a specific expertise in your industry. Because when you niche, and this should be no surprise, this should be no secret, because if you know me, you knew I was going to talk about this. If you niche, you change the game for yourself. You actually get out of the competition and you carve a space that says that you're a specialist in something. And this is going to change your business. Because instead of doing a few things, many things at mediocrity, I'm telling you to do a few things at mastery. I don't want you to be a mediocre brand where you're doing all the things, but you're famous for nothing. Imagine if you could do and be in your zone of genius and do the work that you know you do the best. Work with the clients, the targeted audience that you know you're meant to serve. Why wouldn't you want to do that type of work, right? That type of work is like next level work. That's what a master does. And that type of work is so contagious. People feel that energy. So it's time for you to move out of that. I'm a service provider. I'm a life coach. I'm a nutritionist. I'm a photographer. And I want you to think more as a specialist. I'm a brand photographer for coaches, women coaches, right? It's a specialist. I am a photographer who does studio black and white portraits, right? Own a lane and be a specialist. So how do we do that? So we want to build a niche brand. And so this is, take a screenshot of this if you want. These are questions that I want you to ask yourself so that you could start figuring out how you can move from being a service provider to being a specialist. What problems can you solve better than your competitors? What do you know a lot about? Maybe you have some special training in. Maybe you have some special experience in. What is your reputation built upon? Do you have a targeted audience that you serve best? So instead of saying, I work with everyone, I actually work with a very targeted specific group because you know you get them the best results. And maybe you have a process that you created that you do on rinse and repeat that gets you really great outcomes. All your answers to these questions are going to help you shape that niche brand. So this takes a lot of, assessment of your skills and your strengths. You also might have to look at the competitive marketplace a little bit to see what you do better, what you do different than other people. But when you can nail that special sauce and claim that power and stand in it, that's when you have this energy that you are the only and obvious choice. So let's talk about some examples. Dry bar, one of my favorite examples, right? You have hair salons at every corner, but Dry Bar owns the blowout. They own the blowout. You will pay $50 to get your hair blown out because they were the first who came to market who developed this concept. I'm actually reading her book. Allie Webb has a new book called, I can't remember the title, but it talks about how she started Dry Bar. And she started it because she wanted to just do blowouts because she felt like that transformation that it created for women was amazing. And so at Dry Bar, you can't find, hair color, haircut. You can't get manicures here. They only do blowouts. So here's one of my clients, Nicole Kepik. She is a copywriter and we worked together maybe a year ago. She was in my mastermind. And when she came, she was a copywriter and she did a lot of different things. blog posts, emails, website copy, sales page copy. If you're a copywriter, you might be doing the same thing. You have this plethora of services, but it's hard to do all the things, right? You might have different audiences who want these different services. You might have to have different processes, different onboarding for all these different services. And it could get complicated. So we looked at her clientele, we looked at what she loved to do, and we found that Nicole really loved to write sales copy. She was really good at helping you with a launch, helping you sell your offer. And so she then tweaked her brand positioning to be the copywriter specializing in sales copy, but not just every type of sales copy, what she calls sleaze-free sales copy. And since she made that shift in her positioning, now she knows that she can start partnering with other people who might have aligned audiences. So if she does sales copy, she can start talking to maybe coaches who focus on offers, right? Like someone like Jessica Miller, who was one of my coaches. She has the Offer podcast. That would be a great partner with her. She could maybe pitch at summits that are talking about selling, how to improve your sales game. So now, because she's niched and she's a specialist, it really helps her feel more targeted and more focused in her business. Another example, Tasha Blasi, she is a client of mine as well. So she's in the health and wellness industry, but she's not just another health consultant. She's actually an IVF specialist. She works with women who need some help navigating the complicated IVF process. She went through IVF 10 times. She has 2 children now, and now that is her passion, that is her mission, to help other women, but super specific, so that if you knew someone who was going through this, she would be the first person that comes to mind. So here are some other examples, because this is like my favorite thing to talk about is niching and being a specialist, but I'll just, pull out a few. You could be a hairstylist, right? But if you were a specialist, if you are, let's say, an ethnic and curly hair cutting and color specialist, you would be able to now be a bigwig in a smaller market because you've removed yourself from the millions of hairstylists that are there, right? You could be a relationship coach like everybody else, but maybe you're an online dating specialist for seniors over 60 who want to find a life partner for their golden years. Super, super specific. And when you are a specialist and you move out of the service provider mentality, you're able to get pricing power, right? You can raise your price because you have specialized skills. You have a higher perceived value. People are willing to pay you more. They see you in a different light. You have differentiation in your marketplace because you're not a commodity anymore. And you build your reputation as an expert. So this is the secret number 1 from service provider to specialist. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a mini breakout session, because not only do I want you to have some networking here, I want you to be able to share your expertise with others. So we're going to do groups just of 2, one-on-one. It's going to be a quickie, so 6 minutes. And I want you to introduce yourself, and then I want to share what your area of expertise is. And if you're struggling, ask for help, ask your partner for help. But really the intention here is not only for you to get the practice of claiming your specialization, but also the other person now knows, and we're building our networks, we're building our connections. So let me stop my share. I am going to have Mandy pull up the breakout sessions, and we're just going to do this for 6 minutes so that it's a quickie. Mandy, are you able to do it for me? I'm going to take a sip of water.
Yeah, here it's looks like it's coming through right now.
Okay, perfect. We'll see you back in 6 minutes.
Is that working for everybody?
Yeah, there you go. Whew. Let me pause the Zoom recording. Welcome back. As people are coming back, would love for you to put in the chat what you're an expert in so that we can all share and see. think people are still in their rooms, but that's okay. Welcome back. Hi, Christine. So nice to
Hi.
see you. Welcome back, everybody. Good to see you. Hi, Caroline. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Hello, I know, so busy. So many
wasn't long enough,
exciting
Mallika.
updates.
Wasn't long enough, Lori. It never is. Never is. It just means you have to do some one-on-ones after this. You have to set up some time together. That's what that
I was just telling Melissa how amazing you were and she should join your mastermind.
Melissa always has an open door to my mastermind. I'm waiting for her to come and join the mastermind.
And Mallika is amazing. I agree.
So I was just saying to the other ladies, please put in the chat what you are an expert in so that we can all see and be able to have a network of experts. So add that in there while I get back to the presentation. We will continue learning about these secrets. Okay, let me get my chat up. Usually I answer questions during the presentation, but because this is brand new and my debut, I didn't know how long it was going to take me. So there is time at the end to answer questions. I'm just not doing it during, so I can make sure I get through the presentation. But great, I love it. People, I'm an expert in Canva, expert in newborn and women branding photography, unique visual branding and websites for creative entrepreneurs, brand photography for high vibe entrepreneurs, charitable sparkling wines from Spain. Yes, everyone should learn about Gina's Drink Cava sparkling wine. She and I worked together in a CEI group, and it was amazing. And put your link in, Gina, so everybody can learn about it. Sip while you are charitable, right? Who doesn't want that, to sip wine and have a give back? All right, so let's get back to business, ladies. So secret number one, we already know, service provider to specialist. Now, secret number two is from mission to movement. And this is what I mean. With a mission, we all know if you have a strong brand, you have a mission. If you've worked with me, you have a mission, right? The big why. It defines the purpose, the values of your brand. This is your roadmap, tells you where you want to go, what you want to achieve. People know what your mission is. But I want you to think a little bit bigger. This is about the idea of movement, right? This extends the mission to something with bigger impact, creating a community, right? It's not just about getting goals here. It's about how do you get your community, your people involved and excited about your brand. Oh my gosh, where am I here? Sorry. So start with why, right, is about your mission. We all need it as the foundation. A strong brand has a strong mission. That's your plan. But again, I'm going to encourage you to think bigger, building a movement that pulls people in and has this energy that lights people up. Are you doing this with your brand right now? Do you feel like you have that energy around your brand? Having a movement. Having a movement is like throwing the coolest party in town, and everybody wants to be there, right? It's not just about selling stuff. It's a vibe. It's a vibe that people love, that they feel connected to you and your community. It's turning your brand into a movement. It's like having this, it's like a hype train that everybody wants to be a part of, right? They're passionate about your brand. They're aligned with your brand. So how do you want to change the world? How can you merge your story with what your battle cry is to make it feel emotional, to make it feel enticing and entertaining, that people raise their hand and say, I want to belong there? That's what we're trying to do with movements. It is a combination. It's like a potent cocktail of your values and your mission and your vision and your energy and your passions all put together so that people are excited to be part of your brand. So how can you spark your movement, right? How can you uncover the power of your brand and turn that into a movement? Well, here are some questions you can ask yourself. So again, screenshot this, take a picture. You want to know what the values that your brand stands for. You want to figure out how can your brand involve your audience in meaningful ways. can your mission align with a broader social cause to create a bigger impact? We were just talking about that with Gina's brand, right? You have a mission, you have a product, but you have a broader cause. Her sparkling wine is connected to ALS and giving money back to fund for research for ALS. What can you do that has a broader impact? What events or initiatives can you organize to bring people together? Lori Pine, that's here. She is an executive, a life coach for ambitious, high-performing women. And she just created this group where just yesterday, right, Lori, people coming together, other executives. These women don't have the time, but they are coming together because they need the community, right? They want to get together to have sharing, to have that connection. And can your brand create a shareable symbol or a hashtag, right? Like the hashtag Me Too, right? It caused a movement for people. So what can you do to spark your movement for your brand? So let's look at some examples. Tom's Shoes. Their mission has always been you buy one and then you give one, right? It donates to someone in need, but it's much bigger than that. They're creating a movement, this like global movement around conscious consumerism and social impact. It's not just about buying one and giving one, it's about conscious consumerism. Dove, hashtag real beauty. Those campaigns, those are my favorite campaigns as an advertising person, right? Their mission has always been to empower individuals, embrace your natural beauty. Dove is like a clean brand, it's a wholesome brand, but they went beyond that with this movement, this campaign. It was about inclusivity, positivity, body acceptance, all shapes, sizes, colors, right? They were really the first people before all of this movement we've seen later with DEI. Like they had this hashtag real beauty years ago, challenging beauty stereotypes, encouraging women to redefine beauty on their own terms. And our very own Vanessa Flores with her movement, with her business, Kettlebell Kickstart, right? Her mission has always been to empower busy parents, especially busy moms, to build lasting strength. But really, the movement is about sustainable health, legacy of health, health for not only the parent, but also the family, right? Our kids are watching us. What we do with our healthy habits, the lifestyle that we create, we are modeling that for our kids. So it is a much bigger movement, right? It's about sustainable, strong fitness. It's about feeling like you're part of a community, a sense of belonging. And Vanessa's so good at creating all of those things in her brand. So when you move from mission to movement, this is how it impacts your brand to make it a six-figure brand. You get loyalty. People want to be a part of your brand. They become your ambassadors. They want to be with you, not only one time, but another time, that repeat buyers, right? And that leads to increased revenue over time. It increases the long-term customer value. Again, with repeat buyers, you have someone that's part of your community. They feel in alignment with you. They want to be with you. And they actually become the people that spread the word of mouth marketing for you. And they attract other clients and help you get more money into your bank. So when you can create that movement, when you can create that energy, that passion, it has a lot of effect on your bottom line for your business. Okay, so giveaway time. I have some of my favorite brand building tools and some books that I'm going to give away. And so I think I'll make it easy and we'll just do January birthdays. Who has a January birthday here? Put in the chat if you have a January birthday and we'll see who has the closest birthday to the date today, which is January 11th. Anyone have a January birthday? Let's see. Oh, me, Caroline, you win, January 25th. So send me a message with your address. You can private message to me and I'll make sure.
Will do.
Yay.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right, guys, let's move to secret number 3. Okay, so secret number 3 is from brand point of view to thought leadership. So thought leadership is like a hot word right now, right? You keep hearing it over and over again. But I want you to think about this is that brand point of view is all of us have thoughts on something, right? We all have an opinion. We all have some ideas. But I want you to kind of put that on steroids. Thought leadership is a whole different level. It's not just expressing your beliefs, but it's how you can now take a more active role in using those ideas and beliefs in shaping your industry, in creating conversations and providing leadership in your industry. So it's not just about having opinions, but again, it's about being the expert. It's about guiding people with your wisdom and making them think differently. You want to leave your mark with your thought leadership. You want to shift to upgrading your status from someone who just has opinions to becoming the go-to authority in your industry. This is what's going to help you stand out from the rest, especially now. We are in the world of AI and ChatGPT, right? It's growing at lightning speed. And sad to say, a lot of us can get our ideas from ChatGPT. We can, copy and paste. So it means that if you want to really create a standout brand, you have to go beyond that. You have to bring your unique perspective. You have to take an active role in guiding others. You need to be the authority. You need to be not just in the game of sharing, but leading the game of sharing. So I want you to think about that. And here's a quote: thought leadership is not about being known. It's about being known for making a difference, right? So you're not just talking again, you're actually leading the conversation and you're making a difference. You're making a change. We all want to be change makers. We all want to be leaders. And so thought leadership will be your opportunity to do that. You can actively contribute your insights, your expertise, maybe some innovative thoughts. But it's time for you. And I know it's scary to think that you're going to do that. I get scared. I was scared before I got on this call today, because this is an example of my thought leadership, right? But this is what's going to help you stand out from the rest. This is what could be the tipping point of having someone hire you versus somebody else. This is what's going to help you get opportunities for more podcasts, for more speaking gigs, because you're actually shaping your thought leadership. You're actually stepping into your leadership. So how do you craft your thought leadership blueprint? Well, here are some questions you can ask yourself. Do you have a unique perspective? Are there things in your industry that you want to change? Do you have some intellectual property already that you can now take to a bigger stage? You could scale it. Maybe you have a distinctive framework or methodology. And if you've worked with me, you know that this is super, super important. Having a specific process that you can package and make your own. You have a signature talk or a key message, right? You need this as part. This is an essential if you want to go to be an elevated brand. And then ask yourself, what do you want your legacy to be in your industry? Again, this is the long-term impact you want to have. What is that leadership legacy that you want to contribute? So here's some ideas again. How does this even, what does this look like? How can we illustrate thought leadership? Could be your offer. You could have a book. You could have a signature talk or a workshop. Maybe it's a podcast or a webinar series. It could be a blog post or articles, video. You could have a framework. There's so many ways for you to share your thought leadership that goes beyond just having a point of view or an opinion. So let's talk about some examples. Kate Dawson, the decor whore. Some of you know her. She is a client of mine as well. She was in my last mastermind. So she's an interior decorator and she loves to make homes look like $1 million at a fraction of the price. She has disrupted the traditional interior design industry, where you think you have to spend $12,000 on a couch, you have to go to, Restoration Hardware or go down to North Carolina. What she has done, her thought leadership, is to include more individuality, more creativity, right? She's all about the thrill of the deal and the quest, and she uses humor and provocativeness in her brand as part of her thought leadership. She's been in Forbes. She's been on television. She has a membership called the Whorehouse. I mean, even I've worked with her and so long and I know her, but even when I say her brands and her sub brands, it's still shocking to me. But the Whorehouse, right? It's her membership. And then she also has become a contributing writer for Soma Living Magazine, which is in New Jersey. So she has all of these areas where she is sharing her thought leadership. And even beyond this, she's come up with her signature process where she tells you the 4 Ps for home decorating. I'll never forget it. It's like pictures, pillows, plants, and paint. Those are the 4 things to really be able to change the way your home looks. Her process, talk about thought leadership, is called transformation. I mean, she's hilarious. So she has all of these different tools and things that go along and strengthen her brand and showcase her thought leadership. Jessica Weaver, she's in New Jersey as well. She has the Women's Wealth Boutique. She has thought leadership because she positions herself not just as a financial planner, but she positions herself as not your father's advisor. So in a financial industry where it's dominated with men, she has flipped the switch. Everything is pink, everything is feminine and powerful. And she has created 3 books, Confessions of a Money Queen, Strong Woman, Stronger Assets, Time to Refine. She has a television podcast and a magazine called The Women Behind the Millions. She has her own hashtag PinkFix. She speaks, she's on podcasts, she's all over the place. She has taken all of her thought leadership and really done such a great job in becoming this, omnipresent brand, all online and in person, not only in New Jersey, but across the nation. So people follow leaders, and leaders make waves, and waves bring that 6-figure success, right? So, lots of people think they need to spend years creating content and educating their audience and giving away free value to be a thought leader. But there's more to the game than sharing your knowledge. You need to position yourself as a trusted authority. You need to seek those speaking opportunities, the press, all of these things to really showcase your thought leadership. And how does that affect, the impact and the bottom line? Well, again, you can have premium pricing if you have this thought leadership. People will trust you and want to pay you more. You'll have credibility. You'll attract better clients. You could get media visibility, right? You could be seen on different platforms. You could have repeat business and referrals. And this all leads to more money in your bank. So these were the 3 secrets that we talked about to help you get on that path to the 6-figure brand. It was from service provider to specialist. We talked about mission to movement. We talk about having a point of view, having thought leadership. And all of this is going to help establish you as that leader, get you higher paying clients. It's going to help you charge what you're worth and open doors for opportunities. Because I don't want your brand just to be about just surviving. I want you to be about thriving. I want you to stand out. I want you to have the power to have a 6-figure, really killer brand. So the question that's on everyone's mind, now that you know the secrets, what should I do next? So I'm going to give you some brand action, right? Okay, you did a little bit already in your mini breakouts. I want you to define your expertise and leverage that in your positioning as a specialist. I encourage you to, whatever you're a specialist in, I want you to bake that into your elevator pitch. Really put it into your elevator pitch so people know what you're a specialist in. I want you to outline your values and purpose, and I want you to brainstorm ideas that can turn your mission into a movement. And I want you maybe to do an Instagram story or a video that talks about that gets people excited about that. Share what the movement is you want to create. I want you to identify your intellectual property, your unique viewpoint that can set you apart, and start doing some work around what you can be a thought leader on. And I want you to get help from a mentor if you need help and you want to fast track your brand. And this is where I invite you to my party, my brand building party, if you're interested.
Come on in.
I'm sorry, if you can mute, I don't know, Mandy, maybe you can help me mute whoever's talking, but this is my invitation to you. If you're interested, I have open enrollment right now for the Brand Breakthrough Mastermind, which we work on all of these secrets as well as everything that was in that brand CEO method. And I have my eyes and my brain all over your business for 4 months. Many of my clients are in the room here or have worked with me in this capacity before. And I treat your business like it's my business, honestly. And my goal is to take you out of that invisible expert syndrome and really become the go-to expert in your industry. So if you're interested in this, I'm going to make it easy for you. I want you to find me on Instagram. I'm not going to ask you to set up a one-on-one call with me because sometimes I think people feel pressure. Just reach out to me on Instagram. This is my handle. Tell me that you're interested. Tell me what you're struggling with. Let's have a conversation. And just by reaching out, you're going to qualify for $500 off of this program. And there are limited spots available, and we start pretty quickly. We start on January 22nd, which is less than 2 weeks away. So if you're interested, reach out to me there because I would love to learn about your challenges and help you. And if you're not interested, that's okay too. You can just connect with me on Instagram or find more information about me on my website. So we talked a lot today, and I'm happy to say that it's still within the 1 hour and we still have time for Q&A. We talked about the basics of branding. We talked about invisible expert syndrome. We went over the 3 secrets. I gave you some questions to think about. I hope you screenshotted them because I think it takes time to go through that. So give yourself some time. I gave you examples of lots of brands and then some action steps to take. So now we have time for Q&A, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And Tina has her hand raised already. So yes, Tina, how can I help you?
Yes, first of all, thank you. This was very helpful and informative. So I appreciate you giving us all your expertise today and guiding us. I would say the question I have for you is specifically niching. I've always heard, who's your target audience, et cetera. How do you prevent boredom? Because I love variety and I love because I am a communication consultant and coach. And so I've worked with healthcare professionals, I've worked with financial planners, scientists, et cetera. So I'm curious how I enjoy all that variety. How do you stay invigorated when you niche down, but specifically with your audience?
Right. So if you don't want to niche down in your audience, you don't have to. But what you need to figure out is what is the common problem that you're solving for all these different people. Even with my business, I work with realtors, I work with photographers, web designers, but there is a common problem, a specific problem that I'm niching down to, that I'm being known for. My clients have invisible expert syndrome. They do not stand out in their industries and they want to be the go-to expert. So what I would say to you is you don't need to put yourself in a box within a type of client. In your case, in someone else's case, it might be different. But for you, if you like the variety, that's great. But what you need to do is to make it easy for them to understand what is the problem that you solve? What is the expertise that you bring to the table that they need? And is there a process or a framework that you have that's going to help you differentiate and niche your brand so that they know the value that you provide? So when people say niche, I think they immediately think, oh, you're going to make me work with a certain audience. When I say niche, I actually also call it a bullseye brand because the audience is part of the niche. It is find your specialization, find your specific audience, find your standout superpower, and find your solution. Those are the 4 parts of building a powerful niche. And so you might work with different people, but maybe they're in a season of their business. They're all, been in business for 5 years. Maybe that's the commonality in the audience part. And then they have a specific problem. And then you have a specific expertise. And then you have a specific process for them. But then it allows it to get really tight and focused and sticky so that when you tell me what your niche is, I remember it and I can tell someone very easily. And it paints a picture of someone in my head that is your targeted audience. Does that make sense?
It does. Would you mind repeating those 3 things that you mentioned, the standout, superpower? What were the other 2?
Yes. So I have a bullseye branding formula, which is my framework, part of thought leadership. So it's specialization, specific audience, standout, meaning like your superpower, and then solution. What is your sort of proprietary framework, formula, methodology that you can bring your clients through. And once you have that, that's going to really help you move from being a generalist to becoming much more of a specialist. And it's the clarity piece. That's the thing, right? We've all been to those networking groups where someone introduces themselves and they say, I'm a life coach, period. There's no context. I have no idea who to send your way, right? Or they say, like, I'm a life coach and I specialize in women over 60, new moms, teenagers, and boys that are the middle child, right? Like, you are not a specialist if you listed out 3 or 4 things. A specialist is very tight and narrow. So just things to keep in mind. Awesome. Thank you. A good question, Tina. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're here. Anyone else have a question? No questions?
I just want to say that I really appreciated Tina's question because I feel the same way. I specialize in helping people purchase and sell trust and estates properties. But like her, I love the variety. I'm Gemini, and I love just doing all the things, you know, all different types of property, all different types of owners. So I don't really want to put myself out there as a specialist in that area and then in essence, turn people away. So your answers were great for that. Thank you.
Yeah. Again, it could be the specific problem. And then again, when it comes to niching, even if you get focused on a specific problem and all your marketing is around that specific problem, it doesn't mean, like a bullseye, there are other rings. It doesn't mean other people aren't going to come to you. It just means you've simplified your marketing, you've simplified your approach, your target, and you're not talking to a million people with a million different messages. So other people will still come to you, and then it's your choice. Do you want to work with them or not? So thank you. Roma.
Hi, Mallika. Thanks again. It was wonderful presentation. My question, I'm not sure if it's related to branding, but one of the things I struggle the most with right now is, since my client is, you know, those of ethnic descent, when they hear the word mindset or self-confidence coach, they are almost like looking at me like, what is that? Like, what is coaching? And I so I'm not saying that just because they are, you know, they are parents of teens and they are of ethnic descent, that means they are my client. But like sometimes I struggle with explaining to them that what does a coach do and how, you know, I'm not a coach that has you know, coaches that you see in sports or in other fields, but I'm a coach who works on mental health, like your mindset, your emotions. I work with all of that. And so they don't understand that. They think, oh, are you a counselor or a therapist? And so I sometimes find it hard to separate myself in that area.
Yeah, so I think it probably requires you to educate your audience over and over and over again, because they don't, for whatever cultural reason, they don't know what a coach does. They think you're an athletic coach. And so you're going to have to gently remind them over and over, you know, unlike a therapist, unlike a counselor, I'm a coach that does this. And you might have to listen to the words that they're using and reflect it back to them. So maybe they don't use mindset, but maybe they like high achieving, high performing, especially if they're ethnic and Asian. They probably like those words better, right? So you might have to use the words that they feel comfortable with, that they value in your copy so that you can resonate with them more. So maybe have some, I like to call them customer conversations, where you actually talk to your customers and you hear what they say about the problem, the result that they want, the solution that you offer. And then you might have to pull out their language so that when you put that into your marketing, it's going to resonate deeper. We say what we say because it's what we want, but it's not about us, it's about them. And so if we were going to create the bridge that builds the connection, we're going to have to use their language and use words that they value. So it might, 2 things. It's going to require a lot of education for you to keep telling them what it is. And you might just want to have some, maybe on your Instagram, your pin post is like the difference. So you have, you know, on your Facebook, a pin post, maybe there's a video on your website so that it's very clear what the differences are. And then having to really listen to the language that they're using and putting that into your marketing so that you can build the connection faster.
I agree. I think the language is the key because a lot of parents come to me and say that my child doesn't necessarily struggle with mindset challenges, but definitely struggles with confidence because no matter how amazing they are doing, they are still extremely hard on themselves or they still don't know how to feel like they belong, whatever.
I
Yeah.
think also for you, Roma, it's going to be about sharing what the benefit is, how it changes those teens' life. So yeah, it's mindset and confidence, but it means my kids now are raising their hand more often in the classroom. My kids are now feeling confident to independently travel on their own. Because we say mindset and confidence, but you might need to give them real life examples of what is happening.
What that means.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Melissa, question. How can I help you?
Thanks. As a person who's newer in business and the entrepreneurship journey, I was just wondering how long or what types of activities I should be doing to determine what my niche should be.
Yeah, so when you're starting, I think you're in this experimental phase, right? And you need to do a lot of research, and it's okay to take on a lot of different jobs. But there's going to be a point in your business career after a year or so where you're going to feel burnt out taking on all these different jobs for all these different types of customers. And you're going to feel that maybe your business is starting to plateau a little bit because you're spread too thin. That's when you want to kind of look at the data at hand. You want to really do an analysis of like my last 10 clients, who did I like to work with? Who actually got the best results, the biggest transformation? Who actually spent and invested in me and actually, trusted my value? You're going to want to look at the projects that you created. Which project was like the worst experience ever and I never want to do it again? Which project did I love to do and I would do it in my, you wouldn't even have to pay me and I would do that. You need to start evaluating those things so that will help you then define the niche that you want. Maybe presentations is something that you love to do and you want to be the go-to expert in creating Canva presentations for your clients. And you want to stop doing logos and you want to stop doing social media graphics, right? But you won't know until you have enough jobs and experience under your belt. So I think 1 year, do all the things, work with all the different people, but don't get into the habit of being that Jane of all trades. Actually look at the data, ask yourself the hard questions, and then try to shape the brand of what you want it to be.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, ladies, I have 8 minutes. I had allotted till 1:15. Does anyone else? Yes, Amy, talk to me.
Sorry, I don't know how do you raise your hand in the chat? Does anyone,
I think it's reactions. You just click reactions down there and then there's a raise hand.
Okay, all right, thanks. I had a question just about timing. So right now I'm underneath an umbrella, right? Like, there are mortgage brokers and other, you'll start out underneath the umbrella and then it's just, when is the right time to kind of go out on your own and, no, this is who I am.
I would say do it now. Why not do it now under the umbrella and start building?
It's scary.
Right? Like you have the umbrella as a safety, right? You have the corporate, right? That's what you're talking about, your brand. And then you have your personal brand, the Amy Madden brand. And you know what? You're already shaping your Amy Madden brand, even if you don't think you are. People know you. You are the master connector. That is part of your brand already. So this would just be meaning you would take a more active approach to shaping the personal brand of Amy Madden, right? You are part of the corporate brand, but what do you want that to be? Financial advising is a huge industry. There's so many different things, but maybe there's a slice, like maybe you want to be the expert for women entrepreneurs in investing, how to get women to invest more. I'm reading this whole book, Financial Feminist, right now. So I'm all like, we need to invest, but women don't invest. They never invest, right?
Yeah. No, they're way behind statistically. Yeah. There's a confidence issue there for sure.
Exactly. So I think you have the umbrella brand. You're going to be part of that for who knows, but if you don't start now in shaping the other brand, you'll never do it. So you might as well take a more active approach and just start asking yourself some of these questions. Start asking your community, you know, what would you expect from me? You know,
That's a good question.
and then see, you know, I mean, branding like it's fun, right? Like it shouldn't feel like a chore. It should be, this is like our invitation to people that says, if you want to work with me, if you feel alignment with me, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. This is what I'm good at. So if you can ask yourself those questions and start playing with it, be creative, be curious about it. Why not start now?
Just because it's scary, that's all.
But nothing
I just didn't know if it was something where you needed more time, because when you talk about self-reflection and really making your branding personal, sometimes I'm like, all right, well, you just need more time. You need more time for, in a sense, your clientele to kind of show you who you are.
You don't need more time. You are an expert.
Okay.
You are an expert. So this is that invisible expert syndrome, right? We are thinking we need more time. I'm not ready yet. You're ready. You have all those things. It's just a question of amping it up at whatever pace you want to do it at. But to give it the attention and the energy to shape whatever brand that is, and it's going to evolve and change. I mean, all of our brands have. I mean, I remember Roma, we've been working together for years. Your brand has changed. My brand has changed. Like all of our brands pivot and change. And that's okay. That's part of the process. We're all works in progress, right? So I just think, why not now? 2024 could be the year that you build the Amy Madden personal brand.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Awesome. Anyone else have anything before we close out? So good to see you, Elizabeth. Haven't seen you in a long time. So glad you're here. Well, 2024 is your year, ladies. I believe in you. I think you can become the specialist. You can become the thought leader. You can create your movements. If I can help you at all, if you're interested in the Brand Breakthrough Mastermind, I definitely encourage you to reach out to me. We start January 22nd. I would love to have you. And I would really help you move the needle on your business. I know it because it's my passion. It is what I'm good at and it's what I believe in. So stay connected, DM me on Instagram. If you have any other questions, let me know, but we'll be sending the recording out to you probably tonight or tomorrow. And then I hope you join me for the next Brand Power Hour, which will be in February, and you'll get more details of that in the email as well. All right, guys, take care.